Hello, I'm going to demonstrate how to apply color to your rainforest bird. We're going to be using these Neo Color water-soluble crayons, and they're like a watercolor stick. So they look really a lot like crayons. All you have to do is color your bird with the crayons. And you don't even have to really color the lines in really close to each other. It's okay if you have a little bit of white spaces in between your coloring. You just need to apply the color. One other cool thing about this particular type of material is you can blend the colors. So if you want to have the color sort of fade from one color into the next, you might start with like a medium color, and then you might have it fade into a lighter color. And then later when we add water, these colors will blend the paint together, so it will look really neat. So I'm going to add a little bit of yellow on the other end of this. And as you can see, I'm not really taking a long time to color in the entire thing completely solid, just as long as you get some color on there. It's okay if there's a little bit of white spaces in between. Now you are able to be completely creative. You designed your bird any way that you chose, and now you're going to get to decorate it with creative color choices too. So use your imagination. It's okay if it looks a little bit wild, because that's part of the fun of this particular project. You're going to get to make your animal look really interesting. So go ahead and let your imagination just sort of go. I'm decorating this with lots of different colors. And I'm going to make my wing a whole separate color from the body. So maybe I'll go back to this sort of purplish color. And you can see how I'm not really coloring in really tightly. I'm just getting some color on there. It's okay if you have a little bit of white spaces. I mean, color it in nicely, but it doesn't have to be completely solid. Now, if this was a regular crayon, you might think, that looks a little bit messy. But wait and see what happens when we do this. And then I think I'll do a whole different color over here. How about a little pink on the throat and tummy? Okay, here's where we do something new. We're going to use just a paintbrush and some water. Make sure your paintbrush is clean and it's wet. And you will just apply water to the paint and rub it gently, and you can see your color starts to melt and turn into paint. Now I'm keeping my paintbrush in this particular color section. I'm not painting all the way across all the colors. So if I started in this one particular section, I'm going to stay here with this section and keep my brush inside the lines. I'm dipping my paintbrush in water whenever it starts to feel like it's not flowing really smoothly. You can kind of feel that when you drag your paintbrush along the paper. You can feel when it starts to lose some wetness, and you just dip it back in to the water and keep the paintbrush nice and juicy so that it flows across the page nicely. The other thing I'm doing is I'm going almost all the way to the edge of the line, but I'm keeping my paintbrush just a hair away from the line. Here's why. I don't want the paint to go out of this area and into that area, because that area is a whole different color and it will start to look kind of muddy. The colors will mix together, and that's not what I want in this situation. In this situation, I want to keep this color over here and that color over there. So I'm just painting like right up to the edge, but I'm trying not to get all the way to the line. So I'm going to continue this whole section. Looking really nice how those colors blend together. I'm loving this. I think you're gonna have a lot of fun doing this project. Okay, so now I've got this whole sort of yellow and green section painted in almost all the way to the edge of the lines. And I'm gonna really clean out my brush so it's really clean. And I'm gonna paint another section. Now, you could run into some trouble in this part of the project. If you painted this pink section right next to this green section and the green section is still wet, you know what's gonna happen is the colors are gonna blend together. And you probably don't want that right now. So what I'm gonna do is paint a section that's really not touching any of the other parts right now. This part only touches the yellow in one little place right there, and I'm not gonna get my paintbrush super close to the yellow. See how I kept it separate? Because I don't want the yellow and the purple to blend together. So I'll just get all this paint wet, and it sort of melts and it looks really good. All right, I'm gonna rinse my brush really well, and now I'm gonna do this dangerous section here, which is the pink right next to the green, but I'm gonna paint away from that line. And I'm gonna keep my paintbrush just next to the line because I don't want it to go over and mix in with the green and yellow. So I'll be really careful and patient and taking my time, keeping my paintbrush away from the section that I'm trying to avoid. Doesn't this paint melt and blend beautifully? And then rinse your brush really well, and you can paint the other section again. I'm going to keep my paintbrush inside of this line so it doesn't touch the yellow and green section, so it doesn't get all muddled together. And every time my paintbrush runs out of juice, I dip it in the water and keep going. I think you are really going to enjoy using these Neo Color water-soluble crayons and the paintbrush and water to paint your rainforest bird. This is going to turn out completely awesome, and you're going to have a great time. Be careful with these. Make sure that you don't break them. You don't press too hard. You only have to press really lightly when you color these in with the Neo colors. All right, enjoy your project. Have a great time.